Let's start the session. Topic is Principles of Management of Obesity and Ayurvedic Perspective by Professor Srigant Babu sir.
The team Agneya, who are organizing this wonderful session, the Department of Kaya Chikitsa Vaidyaratnam Ayurveda College, with all its spreaded wings and team. I congratulate you, and I'm privileged to be a part of this, especially to my senior, whom I call, identify him as Guruji, Dr. P. Gauri Shankar sir. Namaste. Just because of you, I'm part of this, and to share few of my ideas to the August gathering attending this online session. So today, though the obesity is an offbeat topic, people believe that it has no relations with Annavah Srotas, but still I chose this topic to explain certain it and how it can be more towards Annavah Srotas. With this offbeat approach, I'll be dealing this topic. Kindly excuse me if I'm causing any sort of interruption to the stream of Annavah Srotas, and all the eminent speakers who presented their ideas today. I congratulate all of them for sharing their wisdom and expertise to the attendees. So this is a little gesture. I'm Dr. Perugu Srikant Babu, working as principal of Dr. B.R. Kare Government Ayurveda College, a 80 years old college, government college, located in Hyderabad of Telangana state. I am also a professor and HOD of Kaya Chikitsa. So the title of my topic is Principles of Management of Obesity, an Ayurvedic Perspective, and how a GIT care can bestow the results in obesity. This will be the total focus. The presentation runs for another 50 minutes with this type of approach, like essentials I will draw to bring out the basic essentials, because many experts will be there, but few entrepreneurs also will be there to understand the topic properly. So I'm just bringing some basic things. Please don't get annoyed. I know that most of you know about it, but just for a few people who may not remember that, to remind them, I'm bringing all those factors, and I'll just focus on how the principles can be derived and developed for effective management of obesity, considering Annavah Srotas as an entry point or the approach point. Yeah, the Sthaulya, which is a relative term to describe the obesity. By Vachaspatya, they say that it is heaviness of the body, and Amarakosha, they say excessive growth of the body, and Kautilya says that largeness or bulky or stout, and Hemachandra states that a state of overnutrition of body and reduced intellect. So like this, there are multiple definitions. I'll just try to draw few of them for the quick understanding. Why we need to talk about obesity is the demography shows very alarming demography you see here. 61%, more than 61% are overweight, and 28% are obese. 2 lakhs per year they die because of obesity. and 14% of adolescents and 13% of children, they're suffering with obesity. And BMI, basal metabolic rate, basal metabolic index is one criteria which I'm not going to focus much on certain areas, as this is only a 55 minutes or 50 minutes tail-end talk for today's session. So body fat distribution will go like gynoid distribution, like pear-shaped distribution, which is very characteristic in women, or android distribution, or apple-shaped distribution, found commonly in both sexes. And these two distributions are more risky than BMI alone. So the fifth slide will show you the both images of pear-shaped and apple-shaped obesities, and few terminologies related to obesity I have compiled here in sixth slide, like Pinata, Pivarta, Pushti. So its application will be like depots of fat with slight overweight, and Medasvita, Medovruddhi, Medurata, Medupushti, excessive medas without much risk. Staulya, Stulata, excessive medas with minimal factors of risk. Atistaulya, Medodushti, Medodosha, etc. will denote morbid obesity. Tundika, Mahodara, Stulodara will be more or less nearer to android obesity. These are described in sixth slide. So at this point, I would also like to say that Sarve Rogapi Mandagno, that all the diseases are basically drawing pathogenesis from Mandagni, and Ahara, being an exogenous cause, plays a vital role in causation of diseases of Annavasrotas and even in Staulya. So these are two common factors, and I'll just say that Gurucha Aputarpana, which is a Chikitsa Sutra for Staulya, is also related to it can be applied to GI treatments and other things. I'll just lead the presentation in this way. Ashtanindita Purushas are 8 despicable sets of people, like Atidirga, Atihrasva, Atiloma, Aloma, Atigaura, Atikrishna, and coming to the specific area, Atistaulya and Atikrusha. Both are related to the nutrition intake and nutrition intake, digestion, transportation, assimilation, and excretion. All these things, if you put like digestion, this is the gross anomaly you are seeing here. Prior to knowing the obesity, the Prasasta Purusha Lakshanas, which are described in Charita Sutra Sthana, goes like this. Just quickly remembering you about this. Samamamsa Pramana, the right curves on musculature. On 8th slide I am telling this. Sama Samhanana, compactness of the body. Dridhendriya, strong faculties. Vyadhinam na balenebhi puyate, optimal immunity. Kshut pipasa tapasaha, a person who can tolerate the appetite and thirst and heat. Sita Vyayama Samsaha, can tolerate cold and exercise. And Samapakta, proper Agni. Samajara, proper digestion and assimilation. Samamamsa Chaya, smart appearance. So these are the Prasasta Purusha Lakshanas described in Charita Sutra, 21st chapter. So to know the Prakriti before entering into any sort of Vikruti analysis. So the classification of lipids also I would like to remind for a while. Like lipids will be simple, compound, and derived. So in this simple compounds, natural fats, waxes, cholesterol, and esters are byproducts of that. Compound fats, compound lipids, if you see, phospholipids, glycolipids, sulfolipids, lipoproteins will come under compound lipid. Derived consists of sterols, fat-soluble vitamins, fatty acids, saturated and unsaturated, both together. So this is from 9th slide. And I would like to remind few quick points from GI and its metabolism. Stomach, churning activity emulsifies the fat. Limited hydrolysis of triglycerides to diglycerides and fatty acids occur due to the activity of swallowed lingual lipase. Lingual lipase, I would like to remind here, both for what we can think about. Duodenum. Secretin releases as a response to acid exposure, stimulates pancreatic bicarbonate secretion. This is another important point. Intraluminal fat releases CCKs, cholecystokinin, which stimulates gallbladder, which stimulates contraction of gallbladder and relaxes the sphincter of Oddi, resulting in the entry of bile into the duodenum. Bile further emulsifies the lipids into chyme. So these are all the fundamental physiological points I'm just bringing before you, that showing the involvement of GIT in a maximum way in Staulia. So this is only the point why I'm bringing all these things, and not only this, of course, I'll interfere in making a relation between these points to the Chikitsa Sutras and how we are developing a new dimensions in this. So may not be new, a novel dimension rather, novel approach rather to say. So upper jejunum, pancreatic lipase and cholipase hydrolyzed by other pancreatic enzymes. Distal small intestines, the lipid content of mixed micelles pass through the cell membrane into enterocytes. Bile salts remain in lumen and are absorbed in terminal ileum. So these are all the mechanisms, and their deviations may lead to fatty liver, many other conditions. I'm not going into all those things. I just would like to flash these points into your memory to understand the further presentation. Essentials of obesity. If you see, Charaka Sutra describes about obesity in Bahudosha Lakshana and Sleshma Nanatmaja Vikara, Santarpana Janya Vikara, Rasa Nimittaja Vyadhi, as Sushruta described about it, and Atistaulia by Sushruta. So there are multiple descriptions available for this from different approaches. So the classification goes like this. Charaka told this as Stula, Atistula. Sushruta says Taulia and Medhoroga. Vagbhata classifies into three phases like Adhika, Madhyama and Hina, where you can compare the BMI into these classifications, like Hina comes into below 30 of BMI, and 30 to 40 Madhyama, and above 40 can be Adhika. Like this, you can just, by modifying the norms of BMI, you can modify this scoring system also. Sarandhara says that it is Medho Dosha. And the diagnostic tools helping for obesity will be not only lipid profile. I would like to mention not only lipid profile and other fundamental investigations what we carry out in the common clinical practice. The BMI outlets index, body weight and height ratio, skin fold thickness, circumference ratio of waist and hip, like waist and hip ratio, circumference ratios, density immersion plethysmograph, dual energy X-ray absorptionometry, BMD to estimate osteoporosis, the next level of Agni, general tests like thyroid, renal, LFTs, renal profiles, lipid profiles to exclude and include the diagnostic parameters into that, and potassium isotopes, conductivities, bioelectrical impedance, fat soluble gas, bioelectrical impedance, and fat soluble gases, ultrasound and CT at certain areas where to exclude and include certain clinical entities. So how it comes into Ayurvedic diagnostic tools is Chakshurindriya Pariksha Bhava. Sushruta says this in Sutrasthana 10/5. Trivida Parikshas, Astavida Parikshas, under Astavida Parikshas, Akruti Pariksha will come. Pramana Pariksha, Samhanana Pariksha constitutes of skin fold thickness like that. Dasavida Pariksha includes anthropometry. These are simple equations I'm showing you on slide number 15. The sources are like this: exogenous and endogenous. Endogenous consists of dosha, dhatu, mala, agni, srotas, etc. etc. The exogenous factor, the mainly contributing exogenous factor is ahara. So where I am focusing this particular point, that GI care will give more efficacy, clinical efficacy into obesity management. So there are number of points, n number of points. I'm just showing few to fit into this 50 minute styled presentation. So if you want to understand the samprapti of Sthaulya in nutshell, the 17th slide speaks about this, like dosha, kapha, pitta, vata, dushya, rasa and medas. I always say when Agni Dushti is there, rasa will be the first factor to get influenced. So rasa is equivalent to tvak. So the fat distribution and its levels also will signifies how this derangement can lead to primary obesity and moderate obesity and severe obesity at different levels. So Agni, Jataragni and Dhatwagnis, Srotas Medovaha, and of course Annavaha, Udakavaha, Pranavaha, all these things are also involved into this. In a detailed presentations where I do an exclusive sessions on this, I'll be narrating all these details, micro details about this. Srota Dushti Prakaras here are Sangha and Margavarodha and Vimarga Gamana. And of course Amata by Susruta. Adhisthana will be Sarva Sharira. Vyaktasthana will be Udara, Guda, etc. And Udbhavasthana will be Amashaya. Roga Marga will be Abhyantara and Bahya also. I'll say why it is Bahya. So the energy expenditure, I'm showing it on 18th slide, like TEP, thermal effect of physical activity. This is one area, how we spend our energy. Resting metabolic expenditure, this is second one. Third one is thermal effect of food. So this is an important gadget to incorporate GI care, how it is going to help the help in management principles for obesity. Thermic effect of food is very, very important. Resting metabolic expenditure and thermic effect of physical activity. And if you want to understand the obesity from a different perspective, there may be a hypertrophic obesity where enlarged adipose cell size is increased, and hyperplastic obesity, the number of cells are more here. The number of the size of the adipose tissue will be moderate, but the number of adipose tissues, the number are more in hyperplastic. Hypertrophic, the number is less, but size is bigger one, like what we describe in RBC and other areas. Combination of both also will be seen here. And if you want to quickly understand the Nidhanas, the first segment comes under Ahara, Vihara, Manasika, Rasayana, Vrishya, Atisevana, Bija Dosha, and miscellaneous, Anya. So these are also these are the important etological factors, Nidhanas. So if you see the Ahara segment, Ati Sampurana, Santarpana Adhyasana, Guru, Madhura, Sita, Snigdha, Sleshmala, Mamsa, Payasa Vikara Sevana, Dhadi Sevana, Navarna Sevana, Nava Madhya Sevana, Sarpi, Ikshu, and Guda Vikara. So all these are contributing for high calorie foods and overeating and excess eating. Bhojanantara Jalapana also a factor contributing for obesity. All these things are related to Ahara only. So the Vyayama, I don't pay much attention on this because the 22nd slide is self-explanatory, like Avyayama, Avyavaya, Divaswapna, Asana Sukha, Swapna Prasanga, etc. are being narrated here. If you come to the Manasika Vikaras, Harshana Nityam, Achintyam, Manaso Nivrutti, Priya Darshanam, Saukhyam. So these are all important areas to consider from Manasika Hetus. And Bija Doshas, I'll quickly touch upon this. Increased proportion of Sukra plus decreased proportion of Sonita will lead to potent but lean body. Increase the proportion of Sonita, decrease the proportion of Sukra leads to stout but weak body. You can, this is from Madhava Nidhana 40 and the slide number 24 explains about this. Overnutrition during pregnancy, especially with Madhura Rasa, may lead to obesity in children, childhood obesity. This is from Charaka Sharira as shown in the slide. So Rasayana, Vrushya, Atisevana is one cause. Not all Rasayanas. I would like to limit this area from a different perspective, like Narsimha Rasayana, Musali, Masha, which are used as treatments which are used for Karshya. If they are used as Rasayanas for Karshya, then its excess usage may lead to obesity, Sthaulya, excessive Masha, Kshira, Sarpi, etc. And there are 9 modes. I'm explaining in 26th slide. There are 9 modes of mechanism related to obesity: defective thermogenesis or inactivity, excess food intake, excessive lipid deposits, abnormality of autonomous innervations, diminished lipid metabolism, decreased lipolytic hormones, aging process, defective adipose cells, and defective lipid oxidation. These are the 9 modes of mechanism pertaining to Sthaulya to be understood for its better clinical understanding and formulating the line of management. This is depicted in 26th slide of the presentation. 27, there are different varieties of lipoproteins like VLDLs, LLDLs, LDLs, HDLs, etc. The distribution of fat deposits, which are described in 28th slide, is important. Subcutaneous layer, I told you, the ahara lead to immediate uttara adidhatu rasa formation, and subcutaneous fat is distributed to 50%. Just imagine why Udvarthanas are very, very effective than Lekanavasthis in management of Sthaulya. Udvarthana, Rukshana Karma, they are more effective than conventional bastis. I don't say conventional bastis are not effective. When you compare, it's simple, but its productivity will be more with this. So likewise, peripheral tissues will be 15% and mesenteric tissues will be 20%. Omental fat will be 10% and intramuscular and connective tissue fat will be 5%. If you just see the majority of the fat, what we are seeing as a gross entity in subcutaneous fat. So this is very important when you are formulating the line of management. Quickly going to the symptoms, signs and symptoms mentioned in different textbooks in 29 and 30th slides of my presentation, like Medho Mamsathivruddhi, Chalaspik Udarasthana, Ayadhopachaya, Anutsaha, Sarvakriyashu Asamardhata, Shrama, Alpa Vyavaya, Urdhva Parshva, Udara Parshva Vruddhi, Alasya, Alpa Prana, Nidhadikyata, Shudra Swasa. So I would like to draw your attention on 30th slide and 3rd point. So if you want to describe snoring and write a diagnostic point, you can use this particular term, Kratana, K-R-A-T-H-A-N-A, Kratana. So this suits for describing the snoring from a Sanskrit entity from Ayurvedic backdrop. So there are a few more symptoms mentioned here. I'm not narrating them. You can go through the slide, like 29, 30, 31 speaks about all the areas, and in 31 I would like to draw your attention towards the apakti, trupti, etc. Apakti. So the digestive errors are leading to the symptoms, hence they still, even after getting the disease, apakti is seen, etc. So the complications and prognosis of obesity, the upadravas, how it is going to harm, and why we need to think about obesity and its care. So if you don't say this Thula Pramehi, if you see, most of them, they go into insulin resistance. The diabetes, of course, is a byproduct of the furtherance of the Sthaulya lead to Madhumeha or hypertension or many other complications. So Sthula Pramehi and its managements, if you remember, you can incorporate them into the management of obesity and prevent the complications. This is the main idea of bringing these facts before you in slide number 32. The infertility, Vrushya Rasayana, where you need to use in obesities, because obesity leads to infertility, low libido, etc. So in such conditions where we need to think about the best vishyas, rasayanas, yet they should not contribute for nidanas of obesity again. So you need to chart out that sort of line of management here. If you see the cardiac problems as such, the main causative factor I would like to show here is manasika than many other areas. Of course, in one major conference happened in Hyderabad, a wonderful observation they have made in one hospital. I don't remember the hospital name and other things, but they have organized research on people who came with the heart attacks and get admitted to the hospital. So they have scrutinized the person and started treating him, and simultaneously they started screening the close friends and relatives who are approaching him to see him in the hospital and their health profiles also. And later they found the person who got affected is not having obesity, is a regular walker, non-smoker, like this. So the factors which are told as etiological factors for cardiac diseases, none is seen in these patients who are fatal, but all their friends and relatives who are visiting him are having all these factors, but still their cardiac function is far better than him. So then they have understood and they're still doing the work. They started understanding that the mental stress and manasika, role of manasika doshas and manasika factors in causation of cardiac diseases. So this is a new novel approach for understanding the cardiac entities. Of course, this requires a lot of further evaluations and follow-ups also. And if you are seeing cholelithiasis and cancers, think about Arbudas and its line of management where you can prevent this. I told you about fatty livers where sphincter of OD is not getting operated properly by a CCK release. So the mechanism of bile coming and secreting to the intestine will be stopped and bile gets concentrated, and it also facilitates the regurgitation of the fat regurgitation of the material into gallbladder. It may lead to gallstones or cholelithiasis, etc., etc. Of course, this may not be a main mechanism, but this is also one possibility. And degeneration of bones and joints, skin diseases like kushta, vata vyadhis, they also come into because of the overweight, the joint destruction will be there, joint trauma will be there. So all these things comes into complications and prognostic scorings of this thing. So the principles of management is simple. They told two factors: guru, apatarpana. Guru cha apatarpana. So we did not disappoint that only two factors are there, but if you can use your yukti and by properly adapting the aptopadeshas and doing some sort of exercise. So Gurucha Apatarpana is a wonderful line of principle. So I'll just quickly mention here, because this is a 27th minute I'm talking. So this is a 34th slide. Time of administration of medicine. If you correct this, you will have a better clinical productivity. Clinical productivity, I'm using this term with a sense. Prag Bhakta Kala Krutikarana, Ashtanga Sangraha Sutrasthana 23rd chapter, as shown in 34th slide. Lekana Aushadhi, early morning before food. So most of the times we don't choose right time to administer the medicine in Sthaulya Rogis. So we just say, and patient also ignores and he will try to adapt his own protocols, but we need to insist on time of administration. Aushadha Sevana Kala plays a vital role here, as I am narrating in 34th slide. And if you see the management principle, general management principles, which I am showing here like 35th slide, Nidana Parivarchana, Samshamana and Samshodhana. I am just altering the sequence here to suit it for Sthaulya management. Usually Nidana Parivarchana, Shodhana and Shamana we say, but here I will alter that because Shodhana may not be the second option in Sthaulya for various reasons. I am not telling this as a single entity. We have made some workouts and I am telling. So simple but helps like this. Consuming water before food. Consuming water before food will help a person to lean himself. So this is an approach through GIT for managing the Sthaulya looks like a tip, but it has science in that. If you think with the fundamentals, what I'm constantly dealing till this slide, you will definitely understand the scientific evidence-based approach, how this is going to work in reducing the obesity. Likewise, the Samshamana treatments consists of Deepana, Pachana, Vyayama, and Maruta Tapasevana, Gurucha Apatarpana, Kshit Trishna Nigraha. This is very, very important. A obese patient will have more appetite but less consumption capacity. So I'll be introducing few ideas in coming part of the presentation to have better control on Kshit Trishna Nigraha. This is very, very important. And Deepana Pachana, the main line of management for Annavah Srotas, we are adapting here. Likewise, we have much mirror imaging with Annavah Srotas and Medava Srotas. Of course, if you want to see the differences, you can see only differences. But my approach is with a different, I call it as novel. I don't know how many will accept, but still I'm confident that this is a novel approach. So the 38th slide speaks about logical options. I'm proposing this before you as logical options. I don't find that these are the tools prescribed and you go with them. No, this is the logical tool. So Vacha Haridradi Gana, you know 50 Kashaya Ganas mentioned by Charaka. Among them, Vacha Haridradi Gana. If you think about this Gana, Vacha Haridradi Gana, the components of this Gana will help you to approach for cephalic part of appetite. I use the term cephalic part of appetite. Say there is nothing, no food material is available before you, but still if I speak about a wonderful orange, a very orange colored, fluffy, I'm cutting this fruit, I'm just squeezing. So this fruit is very, very sweet and little sour also. If I start describing like this, there is no fruit, there is no food before you, but still you will get all your secretions in here. You will start swallowing your mouth salivations. This is because of cephalic part of appetite, cephalic part of mechanism, your limbic system and the amygdala, which how it controls the emotions and converts the afferent waves into efferent waves, I mean sensory waves to the motor activities like this. So all these things are being narrated as simple physiological factors, you know. So Vacha Haridradi Gana is one Gana, I believe. It is meant to have controls and alterations of your circadian rhythm and the drugs which they can work on hypothalamus to regulate the rhythm, regulate the deviated rhythm, what I meant to say. So this is how we need to understand Vacha Haridradi Gana. Then Varadi Gana. Varadi Gana speaks about regulation of digestion. There may be a Vishamagni. How to approach? You need to regulate the digestion by controlling the Agni, by adapting the drugs mentioned in Varadi Gana with a selective approach. I don't say all the drugs, dump them. No, you can select them by your requirement to your particular patient and its clinical condition. So this is going to help you more, like Varunadi Gana. So why I am telling Varunadi Gana is, see, I told you most of the fat is secreted like subcutaneous fat. So the lipoproteins which are circulated into the body are sedimented into certain areas, and there may be possibilities of lipomas. So in lipoma-like conditions, Varunadi Kashaya or Varunadi Gana Lepa, Dravya Lepas, I mean Bahiparimajani Chikitsas or Antaparimarjani Chikitsas, either way you apply. So they are found very, very useful. So considering this particular mechanism, you can think about Varunadi Gana, how you are going to approach for Sthaulya management. And you can take few components of this and you can easily expel the materials out of the body by normal mechanisms, not like Shodhana, normal mechanisms, normal evacuation mechanisms. Likewise, Bruhat Kravyadi Rasa, this can be used where fat is more seen in abdominal or omental fat, if you see. So, Bruhat Kravyadi Rasa is one option. Like Gomutra Kshara, Gomutra Kshara. So, if you convert the Gomutra into Gomutra Kshara by adapting the proper procedures, this can be selectively applied to the patients, whether patient is in alkalosis or acidosis condition, and how this can be prevented, and this can be used selectively, Gomutra. So this is also, these are all the logical options. I'm not telling that these are the only options. These are few logical options I am bringing before you as my contribution for understanding the principles of management of obesity. Likewise, Navayasaloha, Navayasagukulu, the drug which is very commonly strikes our mind when we are thinking about obesity and its management from Ayurvedic perspective. So what it contains, the main components goes like this: Trimadas, Trikatu, Triphala. So if you want to understand this, the 39th slide will give you an idea. Trimadas contains Vidanga, Musta and Chitraka, right? So Vidanga, Musta, Chitraka, if you want to see them separately, Musta works on cephalic part, Vidanga works in Apana part, and Chitraka works in Amashya part. These three together, they are denoting for the cephalic part of appetite. And if you see Trikatu, a component of Navayasaloha, 3 components, because 9 plus 1, Nava Ayasa. So Nava plus 1. So either it is Loha or Gukulu. So these 9 are common. So Trikatu works on abdominal area to correct the Agni at a central part. Triphala, this of course it has multiple actions in the body. I am just showing the main action which I would like to show you here. So Triphala helps for absorption and excretion, and it works in the Apanavata area. If you consider the body into 3 dhamnas, Urdhva, Madhyama and Adhama. So Urdhva dhamna, I call it as cephalic part for Agni management, as this is a part of Agneya conference. So I would like to say that Trimadas are for Triphala, cephalic part, Trikatus are for abdominal Madhyama, and Triphala for Adhama part. So Adhama dhamna, like that. So you can think about this and you can bring out the ingredients. If you want Loha to be added, it becomes Navayasaloha. If you want Gugulu also, Purana Gugulu or Nava Gugulu. And if Gugulu is available or not, which is true or not, I am not going into those areas of conflicts. So if the drugs are available, how you are going to use, you can make a combination and you can definitely choose as your approach for the prescription. And another simple but very, very effective, and what we are adapting in our day-to-day clinical practices. We are working for a government institution where most of our patients are not in a condition to afford for costly medicines. So government also will give them moderate medicines in the sectors, you know. So in that way, Vardhamana Pippali Prayoga. Don't think that we are doing Vardhamana Pippali Prayoga, the original Vardhamana Pippali Prayogas. No, we are naming it by adapting the basic concept of that. We are not doing Sodhana to the patient and then adapting all the areas. No. Even in Shamana Chikitsa, we are taking Chaushashta Prahara Pippali, the product available in the market. The application of the Vardhamana Pippali dosage we are using. Like first day 1 tablet, second day 2 tablets, third day 3, fourth day 4, fifth day 5, and sixth day also 5, and then tapering to the 1. So this is called one cycle of Vardhamana Pippali. Second thing, we see the toleration of the patient. Then we prescribe the second dose. It may not be 1, it may not be even 10. In between, like 5 we start or 6 we start, like that. So this will be very, very useful in reticuloendothelial involvement and metabolic involvement, what we call it as Pliha and Udara Rogas, as mentioned in Ayurveda. So Vardhamana Pippali Yoga, you can just, you can derive your own way of approach, but the name, it is the name as it is representing that Vardhamana Pippali. We are not adapting the classical Vardhamana Pippali yogas, how it should be used, like 1000 Pippalis. No, we are not going by this way. We have modified it to the OP consultations and OP utility. We stop all these prayogas in summer because the it will be very hot in South India, you know. So in regular areas, we ensure prakritis and other things of the patient. So in pitta dominant prakritis, and certain contraindications are there for Pippali and Ballataka. We don't adapt in such conditions. But this is one approach I would like to share. Like Ballataka Dasika, as I am showing in 41st slide, Vardhamana Pippali in 40th slide. So Ballataka Sakti, Kshira, etc., etc. This also we have converted into Vardhamana Yoga. So usually we use some standard company preparations to avoid the complications coming out of improper purifications of Bhalataka in preparations. So we believe certain companies, and this is not uncommon for any practitioner. They believe in certain areas, so we are mentioning few products which we are using in our day-to-day practices. So we just make them into handmade pills. We take all the hygienic precautions. We take one bottle of Amrita Ballataki and we just make equal sized pills. It is not equally weight, no, it is similar, more or less little equal. It may be variables also. So we make pills and we use in Vardhamana Prayogi, like Vardhamana pattern of usage, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, then tapering the dosage. So as a single dose, we give this basing on the Agni, we will prescribe this, and for first cycle, second cycle, third cycle, we improve this into different patterns. Certain areas, as I am showing you in 42nd area, the peak dose we increase for days and we taper it. Certain areas, we start the second cycle with the center dose. So if I am taking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, the next cycle will be, we will be starting with 5, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 10, 9, 9, 7, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, like that. So this is how we are adapting the mechanisms. So the Lekanavasti, this is one approach, you know, as I'm narrating in 43rd slide. And I would like to draw your attention even to Udaka, because Ayurveda speaks about versatility of Udakas. You see huge number of Udakas described in Ayurveda for different purposes, like Madhudaka, Ushnodaka, Sarodaka, Kushodaka, Trifala Jala, Hamsodaka, like that. So Kushodaka is very, very useful in renal failures and renal approaches. Ushnodaka is a wonderful approach for GI approach for treating the Staulia. Sarodaka is also very good. Madhudaka, you need not tell, this is the approach. This is the Anupana for enhancing the bioavailability of the drug into the target area. This particular component will push the drug into target area to have more clinical efficacy in that area. So that Madhudaka is mentioned especially for this thing. But Madhudaka will also take control of your appetite and not the digestion. So few more ideas I would like to share here, and then we'll go for an interactive part. Ayaskriti, Chandra Prabhavati, if you are seeing the distribution of fat to the lower end, like urogenital area, then Chandra Prabhavati. If it is in GIT and hepatobiliary area, then Arogyavardhanivati. With the intestines, small intestines and large intestines, then Panchamrita Parpati with Jiraka. And if it is more towards abdominal omental area, we think about Bruhatkra Vyadhirasa, as I am showing it in 45th slide. Loha, Shilajit and Abrakabhasma, Shetaputi and Sahasraputi also we use basing on the requirements. These are all few approaches. I am not telling that these are only the approaches. These are few approaches. We are trying and sharing our clinical experiences with all of you, and you may correct us at any time. We are open for that. And for this, you can write to me, Dr. Perugu, drperugu@gmail.com anytime, and I will definitely take all your suggestions and we will interact with you. Likewise, Bahiparimajana Chikitsas are very, very important in handling Staulia, like Kola Kulattadi for Udvartana, Trifala, Nisho Siradi Thailam, as I am showing it on 56th slide, where Svedadikyata condition will be there. So Bilva Patra Swarasas, actually we are seriously trying this particular combination on small lipomas which are peripheral. So without causing much of complications, we are just trying Bilvapatradi, Kalka and Shankabhasma as a lepa. So we are trying. As because of COVID, the trials and the things are not properly going. So we could not able to, otherwise I should have brought out some productive information on these areas also. Vasapatra Swarasa Kalka, Vasapatra Swarasa with Shankalepa, as I'm showing here on 46th slide. These two we are interested to develop some data. So hopefully will be in future we may contribute some data on this particular area also. As I told you, subcutaneous fat is 50% and Udvartanas are very, very effective there. And apart from Udvartana causing for subcutaneous fat loss, it can also benefit, as I am showing you on 47th slide, like Thrax Prasada Karana, Anga Sthiri Karana, that means skin elasticity, muscle elasticities will be preserved. So all these benefits you can draw here. And Tandrahara, Kanduhara, Twak Mruduta, the softness of the skin, you can see that. And few more things I would like to add upon, because they looks very teeny, but they help a lot in bringing the cumulative effect of management of obesity. Like Bhojanante Pibet Takram. Again, you may ask me questions like which type of takra. You can think about. You don't recommend takra full of butter as you are treating obesity. So you go by accordingly. And takra abhyaso, you can educate the patient on takra abhyaso principle, how takra should be made, because Indians we know, and takra is a part of our day-to-day life eating habits, but many of the patients who are coming from other parts of the globe, they require to be taught on takra abhyasa. And Yava Purisha Janananam, you know. So the one more simple, but it looks simple, but it's a very important area in clinical management of obesity. Like if you ask the patient, we usually what we say is reduce the food, increase the activity. When you are giving the low nutrition and asking him to spend more calories, we theoretically understand that he will do that. But the practical and reality is they change the physician. They don't change the approach, because he want more food and less work. He is accustomed for that. So if you are advising this and sitting in your clinic, definitely you can see your patient next approaching to another clinic, and he'll be approaching into many clinics and landing to morbid obesity area where surgical interventions are required. So you need to think how to improve his clinical, improve our clinical approaches by giving better quality of life, and we need to give the requirements for the patients also. Like EVA, to correct the constipation, you can improve the EVA components in the food. You can make some recipes and prescribe to the patient. That should be easy, palatable, and delicious also. So that it can be adapted by them. Like Triphala, Vrukshamla, Musta. You know, Musta, it works on hypothalamus, controls the cephalic part, it improves your Agni levels because it is indicated for Jwara. So it has multiple advantages. Musta Arista, etc. They are very, very useful. Musta Adikashaya, Musta Churna, you can see. And it has a synonym that Kodrasta. You know, Kodrasta means the pigs, they eat this particular herb with a lot of affection and love towards it. They like them. So that is Kodrasta, Musta. And you know, in my student days, teachers used to say, my seniors used to say, so Musta, as it is having a Kodrasta synonym, and you know pigs are very, very plumpy and obese, so Musta should work on obesity. Of course, this is one approach, but I see no pig is becoming thin after eating the Musta. So this is also another approach. But Musta definitely is having a potential role in management of obesity. You need to use it selectively. So then it will have more usage, you know, Lashuna, Asti Shrunkala, all these things. You can think about them. which are cheap, which are good, which are effective, and which are safe also. So few things I would like to share a few of my ideas as I'm showing on 49th slide. Grahi. So few drugs which are Grahi, Sunti and Gajapippali, you can think about this. Stramsana, where you want to evacuate the liquefied material, the morbid factors which came into the GIT, you want to clear from them, clear from the location, not by adapting the Shodhana principle. So think about Stramsana. For that, Aragvada I recommend. Anulomana, you know Haritaki, and Haritaki, without Haritaki, what I personally feel, it is tough for me to handle obesity, Sthaulya. So Haritaki, Rutu Haritaki, like you can use, or Haritaki in different areas because it causes Vatanulomana, and Vatanulomana is one important factor to stabilize the Agni at cephalic part or gastrointestinal tract part. So you should be more vigilant in adapting Anulomana principle here, and hence I claim that Haritaki is one major tool in our hand, and Rechana, Vedana, for where the toughened part of Medas you are seeing, you can think about Vedana Karma, and you can use Katuki either for Bahiparimachana or Antaparimachana. I'm telling Chedana, Pachana, Lekana. So when you are doing Lekana, you require more care because it may lead to bleeding. So you can think about these ideas where they may be more useful in managing the obesity from a GI approach. And Chevyadi Saktu, Badari Patra Kalka, Vidangadi Mantha, Karshana Yavagu with Godhuma. These are few references you come across classics, as I'm showing on my 50th slide, because I may not be able to deliver a live lecture tomorrow. For that, to be on safe side, I'm recording this session, recording my presentation and sending it to the organizers in case because we are into very active pace of COVID care. Our hospital is also converted into acute COVID care center, isolation center for the second wave also. Since 1 year we are working for this. In between we have shifted to the regular operations. Now since a week we have again put back to the work to care for COVID patients. So I don't know how my schedule will be tomorrow. Already we have official meetings scheduled for the in and around timings of the Agneya. So I cannot help, I may not be able to be available for live for more than an hour. So I'm just condensing the time of my availability tomorrow. So if I'm available, I'll be definitely sharing my live experiences there. And a few Gugulus I'm showing on my last slide. You can see here like Gugulu Rasayana, Medoroga and Kapha, Amavata and Medoroga and Kaphaja. So if they are together, Namaka Gugulu is indicated. As I am telling you, GI approach for obesity. And Punarnava Gugulu and Tvak Dosha, Shotha, Udara, Pandu, Sthaulya. If these conditions are there, Punarnava Gugulu will be more useful. Hastapada Svedharikyata, in such condition, Hastapada Svedharikyata. You see, this is a very common symptom we come across in our clinics, and we try hard. I don't know, many people may be comfortable, of course I should not say this. For me, it is difficult to handle Hastapada Svedharikyata. So we choose certain other drugs we are trying. I'm not coming out with a wonderful remedies to support this clinical condition of my patients. For that, Gugulu Panchatiktas are indicated here. Of course, we are still trying to bring out a better remedy for this. Loha Gugulu, which is useful for Gulma, Kusta, Sthaulya, Prameha, Palitya, etc. So, Shadushana Gugulu or Simhanada Gugulu for Medavruddhi, the Ama dosha. So these are all the permutations and combinations where our mind runs, like Annavaha Srotas is equally given importance in management of Sthaulya. So the principles only I spoke, and I am not giving you one-to-one prescriptions. That's not right also. I personally believe that that's not a right area. So with this sort of approach, by expressing my gratitude to my pranams and gratitude to the organizers and Vaidyaratnam and to my director, Department of Ayush, Dr. Alagu Varshini Madam, who is excellently running our department and under Government of Telangana. So I would like to thank our director and Department of Ayush for providing me a place and opportunity and permitting me to share few of my experiences with the August gathering present here. Thank you and namaste each one of you for your patient attendance and hearing. Thank you. Namaste.
Thank you, sir, for the wonderful session.